Hello everybody, thank you very much to be here today. I want to share some ideas for some Valentine's Day. Of course it's a little bit earlier, but that's the idea. Because I don't want to tell you like buy bags of chocolates or bags of perfumes or things like that. I want to share ideas that you can give for your mother, your friends, I don't know, maybe your girlfriend or your boyfriend, and in different shapes, different ideas, or maybe not that common. So I think maybe you are going to need some time for just it to make it, because some of them is like I am going to exhort you to make like a handmade things. Maybe you are pretty good drawing, maybe you're pretty good, I don't know, making movies or taking photographs. So that's the idea.
So now I think that I can look back, and I hope it's not too late. She's so attractive in the way.
So the first option are books, and I know maybe your thinking is not like a big new idea, but I think it's a pretty in books you can choose a really good variety of them. I'm going to start with like a more common novel literature or something like that. My first recommendation is The Catcher in the Rye. It's a novel by E.D. Salinger, and I think it's pretty beautiful. This is a really old edition, but it's funny, it's new, it's different. The story is marvelous, and actually the main character are pretty different and not like the typical hero or something like that, and it's pretty real. So I really recommend that. This one is like a must. I don't know, it's like the best thing I have ever read. I think To Kill a Mockingbird, I think is like one of the best gifts you can share with someone else. It's a pretty good book, have a lot of story, a lot of I don't know, like it exhorts you to think about life, to think about normal social stigmas, and are pretty good. Other ones like the Julio Verne collection, I think they are pretty funny, they are pretty cool, you can do a lot of things with it. I think it's really creative, and it's really, I don't know, it's so happy to read it because it's not a pretty complicated story, but at the same time it's so creative and it's like a pretty good movie. Another thing is El Principe De Machiavello, and I think it's pretty beautiful. This one is an special edition and it's so beautiful. I think they have like pretty beautiful pages and letter and actually chapters of the book. And the other one I think is like my favorite because in some way it's also pretty romantic and is of modern names. It's like the main character, Rubén Darío, and I recommend you Azul. It's a pretty good book, and this one is also pretty beautiful. You know, you have like illustrations, live and prologue and everything. I think it's a pretty good idea. Another suggestion is The Stories of the Tales poem of Edgar Allan Poe. I think it's pretty creative and pretty gothic, and eventually if you're not a fan, it's a pretty good idea for someone who loves literature or that classic novels itself. Another option I think is Oscar Wilde. For me, is one of my favorites authors of that kind of novel. They are so pure, they are so, I don't know, like neat and kind. So I really recommend you, and actually I think it's like one of the best writers of his age. Something different. I really like Banana Yoshimoto. She does a really different novels, so pure, so deep, so different. I really enjoyed, and I think it's like a really good gift that you can share for someone you love. And the last one, and eventually I think one of all my favorite books, is Quemat Barcelona of Guillaume Martí. This is it's not a pretty popular book. However, I want to recommend you because it's one of the books that I really enjoy. It's in Spanish, and I think all of the editions are in Catalan, but this one is in Spanish, and I think it's pretty good. The story is beautiful, is real. You are going to learn of the history, and I think it's marvelous. It's hard, but at the same time to enjoy the story. So this is a pretty good recommendation. You can choose like a more graphic novels, and I want to recommend you Persepolis of Marhan Therapy. The story is so deep, so powerful, and actually is historical and also personal story, and it's pretty easy to read. You have a lot of draws. It's like a storyboard, and it's so interesting, and I really enjoyed, and it's pretty fast to read. And eventually, like I said before, you don't have to read a lot. It's just like a graphic story, and it's so interesting. So, and also I think that she actually illustrated by her own, so I think it's pretty cool. Eventually, like I said before, this is, you can share a lot of like a graphic history. This is the tales of Shakespeare, and this is almost pretty illustrated, and I think it's so fun. Maybe that person is not going to read it, but I think like always it's a good idea to have that kind of books, because they are like they are a treasure, to be honest. So I think this is always a good idea for a gift. Other than maybe you're like in a funny mood or things like that, I'm going to recommend you like the Oatmeal comics. They are pretty funny. They're actually like graphic tales, funny, different. And I mean, it's like a recompilation of a pretty good jokes and stories and different things, and I think they are pretty good. Actually, I really like, my favorite is Why Grizzly Bears Should Wear Underpants. This is my favorite, and have a recompilation of other graphic stories that it have. So let's see. I told you that Oscar Wilde is pretty good. This is a version of illustrated version. They have, of course, less information, but as I say before, oh, this is a little bit stuck. You have like illustration, the work of many people here, so that kind of books are a treasure. So let's see. To share this book is full of illustration. It's just a recompilation of your, maybe of, that's my cat, of illustration of some artists, and I found it like this is once again, I really love illustrations. I really think they are a really good artist, so I really exhort you to both that kind of books. This is one of my favorites, like Rebecca Daughter. They are so good, they are so fun, the colors are pretty different, and maybe one person who loves art is going to love it. So, however, a different of Japanese works, I want to recommend you like the collections that I really love it actually. Like I have this one, the Nausicaa collection, and I think it's marvelous. So, however, it have like the storyboard. Actually, all the story is not very calm. Like you have like his own his own drawings, the copy of them, also the map. And yes, you can see like the storyboard art, actually the manga of it, and I really like it. I think it's a really good idea. Eventually, I think if a lot of people love Harry Potter, I love it too. I think like maybe if that person have all the books, eventually I think it's a pretty good idea to give like a special edition of it. Even though this is the third one, it's my favorite. This one is a special edition of Ravenclaw of this book because I am a Ravenclaw and I love it. Eventually, maybe that person is like pretty fan of anime or things like that. Maybe you can give like this manga of this. This is of Dragon Ball. I think it's pretty fun. You have to draw the story and think maybe if that person doesn't read, they can have it as a collection item or something like that. If that person is pretty interested in the Japanese things or the story, I really recommend you the collection of James Clavell. And my favorite is Shogun. It is, for me, I love it. I have read it like I think like 15 times of more. I love it. They are beautiful, they are pretty complete, and it's pretty cultural inception for telling some way. So this is another, it's not maybe my favorite, but if you like poetry and also romantic poetry, you have Mario Benedetti. Is a genius of that. This is a book of his inventory, and they are so cool, they are so beautiful, they are so romantic. It's pretty easy to read. Also, as last recommendation during books, I have this. This is not a book, it's actually a notebook, but this is a treasure. This is a handmade book in Japanese style. I also have like a personal illustration, and I think that's mine. But however, I think maybe you can do this, or you can board with an empty carpet. With an empty carpet, and I think that is pretty good. This is so creative. It's also old, but I love it. I think if you bought this one for an artist or if you do it by yourself, I am going to really consider it as a treasure. I like it's like the best thing like you can have. So it's pretty cool. Hello again. We are, I think, like maybe we finished with almost all the books that I want to share. So let's see. For the other section I want to talk is about games. I want to share like pets and funny games. I want to share first one this. This is Spotted. I think right now it's like double the name. This is pretty old, but I know that the new games have this. All of this is double, and it's so funny, it's so fast, it's so easy to learn. They have like two kinds of games. I mean the same cards but different way that you can play it, and it is so good. Other one I really enjoyed is Tapeworms, and it is so funny. It's like a domino, but a little bit confused. But it is so funny. You have rules, and actually I really get crazy. I really want to win when I was playing this, and I become in a really bad person. So, however, another one is Exploding Kittens. This is a bag. It have like the let's start like the good one for the office and the not good one for the office. And also this is funny. It's really playful. You have like the sets. It's just to get knowledge of it, and it is really, really funny. I think I already say funny like 100 times, but once you understand how it works, it is so funny, and you also become a kind of bad person. Yes. Another suggestion of handmade is, for example, I knitted this bufanda stola for my boyfriend, and it's not exactly for San Valentine, but I love it. I think it's a good idea. I also did one for my cat, but he destroyed it. But eventually my boyfriend take care of it. I'm so happy. I think it's a really good idea. Maybe you are good sewing and doing things like that, and eventually I think if you have the time, night is a pretty easy way. It's that's the word, to learn how to do it. So it's pretty easy, it's so funny, it's pretty relaxing, and I think it's a pretty beautiful detail. I love to do things, and I really do with a lot of care and love. And other suggestion is that maybe you can do like an album. This is like a family album for my grandfather. Eventually, because he turned 101 years old, and I want to give like a family album and things like that, and I'm working on it. You can do it together with the person. And actually my boyfriend gave me some washes, and also I bought both one because I think it's pretty funny to doodle, to put a little things, beautiful things in it, and I think it's a pretty good idea. I mean, agenda for the year is a pretty good idea. Not eventually just an agenda, maybe like a notebook. I think right now they are very popular, the Moleskine. I think there's a lot of people who love to do the scrapbook, to collect photographs, maybe to do bullet journal. I think eventually me, I would love if someone gave me a notebook for a scrapbook, all different things like that. This is so funny. They have little corgi butts, and I think it's so nice. So like it's pretty beautiful to give like a little jar, to maybe you can save money for a trip that you want to do with the person. I think it's a pretty good detail. You put it in a pretty good jar, like maybe this one is for my washes, but I think this is a perfect jar. Then maybe you can put here for what is the journey that you want to go together, or what is the thing that you really want, fill with money together, and eventually when it is have a lot of money, you can go to the trip. And another options are puzzles, and I want to recommend you this artist Donello, and she has his own merch based on puzzles about her own illustration. Also, another one that I want to share is the merch of Gemma Vadillo. She's sharing with Nicole Values, and their merch is these t-shirts and some sweatshirts, and they are pretty beautiful. And another suggestion is to help the Juniper the Fox Rescue Center about foxes, and they have a really beautiful merch, really funny and good quality. So there are kind of options. I hope you like it. So another option that I want to share is to make similar matching bracelets. So like this one and this one, if you didn't notice it. So I think this is a good idea. It's so cool, and actually is a representation of it. Like a pretty nice representation of friendship, love, etc. For me, I really like it to have it, and I really enjoy to these little things. So I think like that's everything for now.
When we were younger, we thought everyone was on our side. Then we